interesting and a very fun race, particularly in both divisions. When you think
no
about
doubt.
it, it's not either one. I mean,
Right.
both of them. Take your pick. It's
Starting to
gonna be
feel
fun.
like two-team races on both sides.
Yes, right.
Yes.
And Michigan is certainly very much in that two-team race in the East. Let's check out the action of their game with Penn State. There is Lloyd Carr and the 1997 co-Big Ten champs being honored. Mike Hart back on the sidelines for Michigan after his health scare last week. Pick it up in the second quarter. Michigan on top 6-0. Blake Corum.
That's why you lift all those weights right there, Coach.
Yeah.
Why you lift weights,
I'm
drag
with you.
people.
I'm pro lifting.
13-0 in favor of Michigan. There goes Sean Clifford. They ran only 14 plays in the first half. That was the fewest in the FBS this year, but he goes 62 yards there. And then later in the drive on a 4th and goal, Katron Allen takes it in. Nittany Lions within 13-7. And then Michigan making a mistake. J.J. McCarthy has a tipped, and then Curtis Jacobs takes it in. Just Michigan's 4th turnover of the year. Nittany Lions take a 14-13 lead. What happened here, Howard?
Well, defensive player makes a great play. Ball bounces around a little bit, falls in his arms. Here's what I like about this play. J.J. didn't quit. A lot of quarterbacks would have just not run him down. He ran him all the way to the end zone but didn't catch him.
To the third quarter we go. Penn State on top 17-16, and this is where Michigan started pulling away. Donovan Edwards, 16 carries, 173 yards. His first career 100-yard game. They went for 2. They got it 24-17 in favor of the Wolverines. Now 4th and 6 for Penn State. Sean Clifford throws incomplete. Clifford later left the game due to an undisclosed injury. Very next play, here goes Blake Corum, Joshua.
You got to get a hand on that guy. He's a pretty good running back, but
this ain't
especially
flag
when
football.
you don't touch him. You can see him getting out there in the field, too, finishing off that play. It's a great run.
4th straight 100-yard game for him. He went for a $166, and then Edwards just putting it away. They pounded the ball on the ground, Jerry.
Controlled the line of scrimmage, and Howard, you mentioned this earlier. They got to the second level before the back did knock linebackers down.
418 rushing yards for Michigan. Edwards taking it all the way down to the 3, and then why not? For good measure, he takes it in. Michigan wins it 41-17. Here is Jenny Taft with the victors.
Coach Harbaugh wanted a complete performance from this team. How would you describe it?
It was a complete game. As you can see, we had at least like 500 yards total rushing yards. The defense played amazing, and all praises go to the Lord at the end of the day. He blessed us to be able to come out here with the victory, and all of us are remaining healthy. So at the end of the day, all praises is to the Lord.
Blake told me that he likes to describe you guys as lightning and lightning. So what do you make of Blake and the partnership between you two?
We're a dynamic duo. We feed off of each other. It's a dynamic duo, as you just said. You know what I mean? Right there, man. See, we feed off each other. It's love around here. So we feed off each other. You know, we both are dynamic players. We both could do multiple things, and we just best at we're the best at what we do.
Blake, I just asked him about lightning and lightning, because that's how you like to describe each other. What do you make of his day today and how he was able to capitalize?
I mean, I expected it. Like I said, before the season started, lightning and lightning, they kept asking me, who gonna be the Thunder? Who gonna be the Thunder? We don't need Thunder. Lightning and lightning, double lightning strike. But it was a great day by Donovan, you know what I'm saying? I love seeing him hit the hole, run hard, and break those long ones. Career high, career day. It was beautiful. Having another running back back there, doing this thing. So it was beautiful. Shout out to the old line, man. They were crushing them. I lie to you not. They were crushing them boys off the ball, making our job easy. So really shout out to them. Shout out to the tight ends and shout out to the receivers.
Really, really pleased with the team, and I think our defense, is really good, and they're taking that step. To being a dominant defense, where guys are running to the ball, and you're getting, 4, 5, 6 guys to the ball every play, to where they can, started the game with the 2, 3 and outs, and just really continued from there.
Defense was great. They more than doubled Penn State's yardage output, and speaking of doubles, it was double trouble for Penn State. Both backs over 150 rushing yards, just the fourth time in school history that Michigan has had multiple 150-yard rushers. That is our auto owners insurance game leaders. Just the second Big Ten team this century to rush for more than 400 yards against a top 10 team. It was a dominant effort.
It was a dominant effort, and I think it starts up front with this offensive line, and we've known Michigan to have good offensive lines in recent years. This one might be better than the one they had a year ago, and when you couple that with the talent that they have in the backfield, Blake Corum, Donovan Edwards, those guys are going to be dynamic. But you also flip it to the quarterback play, and you can throw J.J. McCarthy in there as well, because he had some rushes that were impactful in this game. Protection was good, so he was able to make some throws downfield as well. This was a full team effort offensively.
I didn't see this coming. I mean, I thought this was going to be a close game. I thought Penn State was really a talented team. I thought Penn State's defense would give Michigan all kinds of fits, especially when I thought that Michigan may play the game with tight formations, which they wound up doing, but they were so overpowering in the offensive line. Those two running backs we just heard from were dominant, and J.J. made some progress. He made some mistakes, but you can see him getting better and better. But they have decided to play this game kind of like an I formation team, and it looks like they're good enough to win all their games playing it this way.
And you talk about J.J., he added 57 yards rushing to that with some big runs, 9 and 10-yard runs. So it is really impressive because you mentioned, you start talking about the type formations, and you should be able to defend that in today type football. But because they're so physical at the point of attack, I can't tell you just how many times we ran those highlights and no one is touching the back until they're past the second level. And I don't think people understand just how hard that is. I mean, these guys are doing a tremendous job up front of sealing the defensive linemen, getting up to the linebackers, and then the back is one-on-one with the safety trying to come full speed downhill, and they're making moves on them. This is really an impressive performance offensively, the way they're doing it. I know defense has to get a lot of credit, but the way they are controlling football games on the offensive side in today's football, when we think about you got to throw it all over the park to be able to win championships, what they're doing is pretty impressive.
You know, and the other side is, you know, those bye weeks, you know, Penn State had the ugly win against Northwestern, and they were getting ready for this game, which obviously was a big game. Bye weeks are so hard to manage, and my guess is James had to make a lot of difficult decisions how to deal with that bye week, and he's probably looking back hoping that he's made the best decisions and they just didn't play well. But bye weeks are really a challenge.
I want to touch on the defense that you mentioned, Howard, for Michigan. I look at Sean Clifford, veteran quarterback, 37% completion in this game. This Penn State rushing offense that was supposed to be getting its stride, Michigan handled it up. I mean, this is a group, too, where we had a lot of questions coming into this year about whether they could replace some of the talent that they had last year. First and second round talent. They've done a great job up to this point. So as you start to look at this team, it's dangerous because they can hit you with the offense. The pass game's coming along with the young quarterback, and they've got a really good defense.
We've been singing the praises of these Penn State freshman running backs, and with good reason, but they combined the whole running back crew, 13 carries, 41 yards in this game. So hats off to Michigan again, both sides of the ball. They were dominant, and kind of the same old story from Penn State's point of view when they get in these top 10 battles. That is 10 straight losses now against AP top 10 teams under James Franklin. Here is the coach, what he had to say after the game.
You know, we did not control the line of scrimmage on either side of the ball. Although the score at the end of the first half, we were in the thing. We did not control the line of scrimmage on either half, on either side of the ball. Offensively, obviously, we weren't able to run the ball or convert on short yardage situations and stay on the field. But defensively, we weren't able to get off the field. 15-play drives, 12-play drives, 16-play drives. They controlled the line of scrimmage, and they controlled the game.
Pretty much summarizes it. Quick thoughts on the Nittany Lions?
Yeah, I mean, he talked about the line of scrimmage, and I think that this defense, personnel-wise, is not built to handle a team like Michigan. I think they're built to handle teams with a little bit more skill and finesse, so that's an issue. From the offensive side, though, as much as they have been building in the run game, to have a performance like this, they are going to be asking some really tough questions that they might not have answers to right away.
I think James said it the best. To me, he said it all. It was the line of scrimmage. They didn't win either side of it.
When you play against a team like Michigan who can spread you out and also can go play big boy football, this is what we're seeing the Ohio States of the world and now the Michigans be able to do. They can do it all. They'll spread you out. They'll get physical, get big inside. And whatever your weakness is as a defense, that's what they're going to do to try to exploit that. And that's exactly what we watched happen today. This is a Penn State defense that wasn't very long ago we were just talking about how fast these guys were. Mm-hmm. They looked unbelievable when they took down Auburn, right? They looked unbelievable playing against Purdue. But now all of a sudden they got in a game like this, and it didn't look like they had the speed that we had seen in previous weeks.
And given up more than 119 rushing yards all year, and they give up more than 400 against the Wolverines. They've got Minnesota and Ohio State coming up next. Minnesota and Illinois, critical battle in the Big Ten West. Tommy DeVito was banged up last week for Illinois, but got the start, played extremely well. This on the first drive, he hits Chase Brown, and 40 yards later, he's in the end zone. That is more passing yards than the Gophers had for the entire game. Illini on top 7-0. Later in the first quarter, Tanner Morgan, I mean, he was guys in his face the whole game, throwing off the back foot. Kendall Smith, the interception. That was a heck of a play, huh?
No doubt.
Forced 3 turnovers, Illinois did, now 16 on the year. Mo Ibrahim did get over 100 yards for the 14th straight time, gets 44 of them here. Gophers down 10-0. This gets them down into the red zone, and Tanner Morgan taking himself. Nifty little run there. Gophers down by 6 at the break. To the third quarter, and Minnesota started off great. A 92-yard kickoff return. Ibrahim takes it in for the TD, and Minnesota is on top by 1, despite having been dominated statistically. But Illinois responds. Tommy DeVito, Brian Hightower, he can't do it much better than that. DeVito 25 of 32. Illini in the red zone, and then DeVito waltzes in 20-14 in favor of the Illini.
Michigan running backs right there. Where he touched him.
Untouched. Here goes Chase Brown. Chase Brown, 41 carries.
It's a lot of touches.
41 carries, 180 yards, score record, 8th straight 100-yard rushing game. They got a field goal out of that. Then what happens here, Joshua?
Yeah, Hackett looks like he's going for a punch on the ball. I'm sure he's doing that, and he completely misses. Hits Tanner Morgan in the side of the helmet. Of course, a play that we don't want to see. Don't think it's intentional, but the result right there is pretty bad.
Morgan was able to travel back to Minneapolis with the team. Ethan Kaliak-Manis replaces him, and Quan Martin greets him rudely. Illinois wins it 26-14. Rick Pizzo got the reaction.
Brett, 6 wins this season, bowl eligible already. You beat Iowa, you beat Wisconsin, now you beat Minnesota. How has this turnaround happened as quickly as it has?
You know, I give a lot of credit to our players, our staff. To work for a guy like Josh Whitman as an athletic director, what he does to give us support, that's what you're seeing now. This game wasn't won this week. It was won in January, the way we prepare our guys.
Helps a lot when you have a guy like Chase Brown who can touch it nearly 45 times. I guess the best question to ask, what can't that guy do?
Well, we got to get him some relief. We got Josh will come back. We're a little banged up there running back, but he's an incredibly special player. Our O-line has really gotten live in the last 2 weeks. We're going to need this bye week. We'll take advantage of it, do a lot of recruiting. We'll develop our younger guys, and we'll go into a 5-game stretch on the back end.
This defense does it again, gives up just 1 touchdown, about 40 passing yards, 3 picks. How continually do they continue to get better each week?
You know, I really think it's contagious in that back end. I think 3 different guys got interceptions. They play the high point well, really do a good job of understanding when the ball's going to get released, get pretty good pressure up front. It's a really fun group to be around right now.
This team fights through adversity, man. There's a couple times we went 3 and out. We came right back to the sideline and said, hey, we got to get this, we got to get it back on track. Defense did a great job. We played calm money football, and at the end of the day, that's how you win games.
They were able to stay ahead of the chains. They were able to convert 4th down. I mean, there's a 4th and 1, 4th and 6. There's a 1st and 20. They start and get it. There's a 2nd and 19. Then they end up getting it. You know, even towards the end of the game where they got a long 3rd and 9, they run, get the first down. I mean, we just couldn't get off the field.
So the Illini are indeed bowl eligible, just the 3rd time in 11 years, but it feels like this is about so much more than that, Howard. I mean, this is a team that legitimately is in position to head to Indy. I mean, it's them and Purdue right now. They are really good.
You talk about a team that's really crafted their identity and who they are, and they embody what the head coach is all about. This is a team that's going to, fight you hard. They're going to run the football. They're going to win in the trenches. They're going to do all the little things it takes to win. And, we talk a lot about them being able to go through situational football, and we watch them go through that on a regular basis, and you see it go out onto the field, and they execute it. This is a well-coached and a team that's playing at a high level and playing really physical at the point of attack.
What Brett has done is he has gotten his team ready every time. They're not an up and down team. They're kind of right here every single time. They do that every game, and they play complementary football every game. And today on the field, they rushed for over 200. They passed for over 200. They played complementary football, and they're just a really, really solid football team.
Yeah, the complementary football deal is big. I mean, their defense has been phenomenal this year. We've talked about it. And Chase Brown, the way that he's been able to shoulder the load offensively in the run game is huge. But Tommy DeVito played a huge role in this game. I thought the team that could throw the ball the best would be able to win it. He goes for 252 on 78% completion. That is a heck of a game. And on the other side, Minnesota could not find a way to throw the football, and it really hurt them.
38 passing yards, and they got 17 of them in the last minute.
Yeah.
I mean, there was nothing they could do through the air.
When Brett was at Wisconsin, they would possess the ball 40 minutes like they did today, but it'd be 95% run, or that's an exaggeration. Yeah. But now he's balanced possessing the clock and winning the time of possession.
I'm glad you brought up DeVito and what he did today. I think the other thing that we should all talk about and how significant this is, I think most people would have believed that he wasn't going to play today because of the injury that he had last week. But when his teammates see what he did during the week, and then you see the performance that he had today, that's going to pay dividends down the road when they continue to get into tough games, and they know who their leaders are, and they know when guys get banged up, they have a chance to go, they're going to play. So that means, hey, you get banged up a little bit, we're going to get you back. We need you.
And Coach said he took care of his guys during the week, too. He pulled back on practice plans so he could get his guys ready. He said, you take care of me on Saturday, and I'll take care of you during the week. And that's a big part of this equation, too.
They have now beaten Wisconsin, Iowa, and Minnesota in the same year, first time since 1983. A lot of firsts for the Fighting Illini as we take a look at our Built for Success, brought to you by Rocket Mortgage. First 6-game winning streak at home for the Illini in 20 years. 2-0 at home in conference play for the first time since 2007. It helps when you played 5 home games. You have allowed a grand total of 29 points. They are really good on defense. So that's one half of the West equation. The other half being decided in West Lafayette, Nebraska, and Purdue. Casey Thompson, Trey Palmer. He would play a significant role in this one, as with this fella, Aiden O'Connell. Pick it up in the first quarter. It is O'Connell to TJ Sheffield. Boilers on top 7-0. Huskers down 10-zip, but get on the board behind Jaquez Yant. Makes it a 10-7 game. And then it's Aiden O'Connell to who else? Charlie Jones.
Shout sizzle.
Sizzling again. 12 receptions, 132 yards, 2 touchdowns. He now has 9 TD grabs on the year. This guy turned into a huge story. Devin Mockamy, the walk-on freshman, puts the Boilers ahead 27-13. Early third quarter, it is Thompson for Trey Palmer, who was just unstoppable, Joshua.
Yeah, Trey Palmer. I mean, we're going to hear his name a lot of times in this highlight. He's going to be doing the same thing, just running through the secondary.
Huskers within a score at 27-20, but O'Connell was on target throughout the game. TJ Sheffield again diving for the touchdown. Boilers up 34-23. And here comes Palmer again, Jerry.
Yeah, again, they found a weakness in that secondary of Purdue, and Palmer was the guy who could take advantage of it, and he did it all day.
237 receiving yards. That is a single-game school record for Nebraska. They're within 4 at 34-30. Casey Thompson looking for Palmer, but he is intercepted by Reese Taylor, and the Boilers get it back. And on the ensuing Purdue drive, O'Connell puts it where only Jones can get it.
Wow.
How about O'Connell? His 12th career 300-yard game. Last 11 games, 33 touchdowns, 8 interceptions. Boilers win it. Here's Elise Menaker with the Victors.
The anticipation that you have and the accuracy, where does that come from in your game?
I think it comes from trust and teammates. I have great players around me who I trust to run the right route, run at the right depth, and, practice and timing, work on all through the summer, even in the off season. So it's about coaches, players. I just have great people around me.
We were looking up at the stats. I pointed out the over 600 total yards. You were noticing also the time of possession. Just what sticks out to you from this game, even just besides the numbers?
Yeah, I think just being able to control the ball. I think we did a good job. A lot of tough third down conversions, which, on the play in the Big Ten, a lot of times you're going to be in third down, and that's where you make your money. So, we did a good job of hanging in there. It's a total team win, needed everybody. So, we're just proud of the guys.
We got a lot of fight. Our guys play hard. It's never pretty. I wish it was, but that's just going to be our team this year. We just got to be able to battle through things, and that we do have. Our guys do fight. They play hard. They know how to respond to adversity because we have it every single game.
You also had a lot of offense in this game, over 600 yards. Aiden O'Connell, what can you say about your quarterback?
Well, he made throws today that not many people can make. He stood in there. He threw it with anticipation that I don't know if I've ever seen anybody throw with that type of anticipation, especially when the game's on the line. So you got to give him a lot of credit. And we made a good catch. So I just think, these guys want to win. They're great kids. You're happy when they do great things. So we're just going to enjoy the win and try to figure out a way to get better.
Devin, a career night for you. You were just telling me, you've been waiting to get that off your chest. Describe for me the emotions even going in and now after the game.
It feels sort of like a weight off my shoulders because coming in, fighting for everything that I wanted, and just finally getting that chance to come out and start and then prove myself and tell them, hey, I can play too. So that's really been rolling up for me.
Proving yourself. Describe the fight that it's taken to get to this point.
I mean, several years, ever since out of high school, feeling like I was under-recruited, and then walking on here and just felt like I had to fight for a scholarship, and I've just been doing that day in, day out.
So that is the story. 43-37, Purdue in a tie for first now in the Big Ten West with Illinois. And what can you say? I mean, some of the stats are crazy. 43 minutes time of possession for Purdue. They ran more than 100 plays in this game, Jerry. I mean, it was amazing how they had it going, and Nebraska, frankly, couldn't get off the field.
And they're more balanced than they've been at any time that Jeff Brom has been at Purdue because they can run the ball somewhat. But, it's time to start talking about the West race, right? So the weakness of Purdue is they give up explosive plays on defense. But they're not going to play anyone other than Illinois that really is explosive. And Illinois is really not all that explosive, but their schedule is Wisconsin, Iowa, Illinois, Northwestern, and Indiana. So if you look at the matchup on the field with Purdue versus those teams, obviously the Illinois game looks to be the toughest, but the way you can beat Purdue is the way that Nebraska almost beat them, be explosive on offense. That schedule, there's not a lot of explosiveness in it.
Well, it appears that you have to be explosive if you want an opportunity to beat them, because today they had 101 plays they ran.
Yeah, there was 1,000 yards of offense today between the two of them.
Right. So, I mean, you have to be explosive. Otherwise, you have to be able to possess the ball. But, again, I think the genius behind this and some of the success that they're having right now is just the different ways they're able to move the ball offensively, right? They've been able to run the ball. They've been able to put big plays up. I talked earlier about if the quarterback, Aiden O'Connell, was back to his full strength and healthy, as it appears he is right now, and he gets in a rhythm, he is very difficult to defend because he knows where to go with the football.
If Purdue wins the West, Rev, you might correct me on this, they'll be the first explosive offense to play and represent the West, right? It's been Iowa, it's been Wisconsin. It really hasn't been anyone explosive like that.
Yep.
Yeah. Northwestern's been there, but they haven't been explosive either.
Interesting.
Yeah, I tend to agree with that. Just to touch on the Nebraska side of this, we were joking around in the green room, the second half Huskers, and they made some plays in the second half of that game. We're going through the stats. They had the ball for 5 minutes in the second half. 307 yards. So imagine if the defense could have gotten off of the football field and given the ball back to that offense a couple more times, how this game could have been.
I mean, that's what's so crazy. They averaged more than 9 yards per play in this game, Nebraska, and still lost the game just because they couldn't stop them on defense. They turned it over at a couple critical junctures, and that did it. So, again, the Big Ten West, here's what it looks like at this point, and it does feel like Illinois and Purdue have separated themselves. And how about it? I mean, the three teams that have represented the West historically, Iowa, Northwestern, and Wisconsin, are the bottom three in those standings. Wisconsin and Michigan State, there is Braylon Allen, and there goes Braylon Allen. 34 yards. First down in Michigan State territory in a 7-7 game in the first quarter. And later in the very same drive, Allen punches it across, went over 100 yards for the 12th time in his career. Wisconsin on top 14-7. Late second quarter, Michael Fletcher getting called for a targeting right there on a defenseless Allen. Fletcher was disqualified from the game. Now, late third quarter, Michigan State still down 14-7. It is Peyton Thorne looking for Malik Carr.
Got him.
72 yards.
Come on, finish it, big fella.
Ooh. Oh, no.
They punch it in a few plays later. We're tied at 14. Now more from Thorne, who went 21 of 29, 265 yards, 2 scores. Keon Coleman there. And Michigan State on top 21-14. They had not had a lead in a game since week 2, late fourth quarter. Keontez Lewis there for the Badgers, tied at 21, but Graham Mertz just 131 passing yards. Time winding down here in the fourth. Michigan State trying to line up for a winning field goal and instead botch the snap. They turn it over. We head to overtime. First play of the OT, Jaden Reed gonna throw it. Keon Coleman makes the grab, and Michigan State on top 28-21. Wisconsin's OT possession after Graham Mertz had nearly thrown an interception. There was a bullet there to Chimere Dike, who had 3 touchdowns last week. Gets one there, tied at 28. Wisconsin's first play of the second overtime. Allen coughs it up. Jacoby Windman, the national leader in forced fumbles with 6, caused that one. Michigan State recovers, and Thorne hits Reed for the touchdown. The Spartans win it in OT, 34-28. Here's Audrey Dahlgren with Michigan State.
Well, as you're lining up, before you get ready to run down into the end zone, walk us through that play, and then finally just to come down with it.
I mean, that's just me and Peyton chemistry, man. I mean, we had a different play check. We seen the coverage, so we adjusted the play, and, you know, from that point on, you just got to make a play.
Initially, this game was all about the ground and pound, traditional Big Ten football, but then really the passing game ignited towards the end.
No doubt.
What can you say about your passing game tonight?
I mean, I feel like we executed. We had a great week of practice, and that just led up to the game. You know, we just got to keep working in practice, building that chemistry as a team and as an offense. And it shows out here on Saturdays.
Coach, all week you have been telling your players to string together positive plays. How are you able to do that when you needed it most on this final drive here?
Well, guys had intentional focus. They believe in each other. It was all about execution. Tonight, we executed on that play and got the job done.
We have to go to your defense. They came up with some timely stops for you. What can you say about how they played tonight, and especially Jacoby Windman? How much of a difference was it to start him at linebacker?
Yeah, the guys played extremely hard. You know, just executed the plan. You know, just kept playing the next play. You know, Windman was in the right place. You know, doing what he was supposed to do. And he made the plays that he was supposed to make. So I'm really proud of the football team today, playing complimentary football today.
Not what you need to win, especially close games, right? You can get away with that at times, but the closer the game, those little things change everything. And, you know, started out the second half kind of on our heels, got behind the sticks multiple drives, and then defensively, too many coverage busts to create big plays for the offense and just continue to move the ball or flip field position at times. We have to play better in the second half to close out close games. There's no question.
Badgers now 1-4 against Power 5 teams, but the story here was Michigan State ending its 4-game skid What stood out, Jerry?
Yeah, Michigan State historically is a tough program, and it's tough to come back from 4 losing games in a row. And that Mel had his team ready. Wisconsin, what is Wisconsin's model? What are they known for? They're known for running the ball and playing defense. They do neither in this game, and I'm not sure that's part of their present personality. And I know they're going through a coaching change. They're going to have to reinvent themselves at some point.
Yeah, defensively, Michigan State came up with some plays when they needed to, right? You took it, tackles for loss. They had 9 of those today. They won the turnover battle today, which was important for them. One area where they really struggle sometimes to trying to overcome is the penalties. They had 9 of them today for over 100 yards.
Yeah, I mean, I thought Michigan State's defense played better, but I thought we could also judge Wisconsin based off of how they threw the football in this game. Did not throw it very well at all, and I think that's really troubling against a defense that has struggled against the pass for the last 2 years.
Yeah, just 283 total yards in this game, 1 week after getting more than 500 against Northwestern. Wisconsin gets Purdue next week. And Indiana picking up early in the second quarter. Terps on the move. Leah Tungavailoa for C.J. Dupree. Tungavailoa buying time and touchdown toss there. Second touchdown of the year for Dupree. Maryland on top 14-3. Late in the quarter, Indiana trying to get back in it. Connor Bazelak. Josh Henderson. Someone forgot. Down in front. Someone forgot to cover Josh Henderson. Indiana back within 4. And it's Bazelak, Cam Camper. That was nicely done. Hoosiers up 17-14 at the break. Third quarter, Tungavailoa, Dante Demas.
Wow.
First touchdown grab of the year for Dante Demas. Maryland back on top 21-17. Henderson moving the pile a little. Indiana up by 3. And then here a really tough scene. Tungavailoa finds Jacob Copeland, but Leah would go down grabbing his knee. Let's see, he got the helmet inadvertently there and had to be helped off on a cart. Billy Edwards, a Wake transfer, coming in to replace him, and Edwards led 2 scoring drives without completing a pass. Roman Hemby there, 107 rushing yards for him. Maryland takes a 31-27 lead, and then it is Edwards taking it himself as the Terps do get the win, 38-33. Brooke Fletcher was there.
Coach, this was a tight game throughout, went through all 4 quarters. How were you guys able to pull this one out?
Yeah, we knew it would be a 4-quarter game. I mean, you watch Indiana on tape, they play hard. Tom got those guys playing for 4 quarters, and we knew that we'd have to come in and execute. Unfortunately, we still continue to be Terps versus Terps, but we found a way to win, and we'll celebrate a tough road win.
You guys leaned heavily on the passing attack in the first half. You said you had to get the run game going. How did that help shape the way this game turned out?
Well, you know, they're a heavy pressure team on first and second down. We wanted to get the ball out in space. Once we kind of got an idea of what their pressure of the day would be, it gave us the opportunity to go in at the half, be able to protect the run-through stuff, and we ran the ball pretty well in the second half.
Your leader, Talia Tagovailoa, he came out early. Do you have an update on him?
We don't. You know, our prayers and hopefully that things are just, he'll end up okay. But we've had to deal with this. You know, our left tackle was out today. Our starting corner was out. We have the next man mentality that we've got to continue on. And Billy came in and executed our stuff and was prepared.
Talia came out of the game early, then they looked to you to step up, and you stepped up in a big way. But what was your mindset when you were called into the game?
Really just going there and, just like practice, the guys did a great job of, instilling confidence in me, and we did it all week. Just got to prepare for the opportunity, and kind of my mindset this game, Michigan, whenever I've gotten in is, don't make it bigger than it is. You're just playing ball with your brothers, so go out and execute like you know how to.
Coach said this is a next man up mentality for this team, but last week this game came down to the final second. It was a fight to the finish here tonight. What are you starting to learn about this Maryland team?
We're definitely resilient. We get ourselves in a lot of close games, and the coach always talks about being committed and connected, and that's what we got to rely on in these close games. That's what we did tonight, to come back in and win the game. So if we stick to our core values and stay committed and connected with each other, we'll be able to win a lot of these close games down the road.
Maryland now 5-2 as they end a 3-game skid in Bloomington. What did you take away from Terps win?
I think a lot of resolve toward the end. Leah Tungavailoa goes out of that game, and Billy Edwards Jr. has to come in, does a really good job of running the football to finish this thing out. But now my mentality goes, first off, I hope Talia's okay, and second off, how do they manage without him? Because we sit back week after week and marvel at some of the throws this guy makes. He makes some throws that other quarterbacks in this conference couldn't think about making. This is going to be a tough road if they can't get him back.
I thought it was a big win for the season, but I think it was a program win too, because they had a disappointing loss last week. They're 5-2. They have Northwestern this coming week. They can be bowl eligible a week from today. And they had to bounce back. And as Locke says, even though it was Terps on Terps, they made enough plays to win the game. And it was a big win for this program.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right when you talk about the mentality of what happened a week ago to be able to bounce back, then the adversity, the guys that they weren't able to play today, they were injured, then they have their quarterback go out who's their emotional leader and probably arguably their best player on the team and their leader. So he goes out, but they still find a way to continue to make plays down the stretch and find a way to win. This is what they needed. Fortunately, hopefully, the quarterback's going to be okay to give them an opportunity.
Certainly hope so. From Indiana's point of view, fourth straight loss now for them after a 3-0 start. They head to Rutgers next week.